Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast that we bring you each and every week from the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube there, smash that subscribe button and bell notification to get all our latest content. And joining me today to give his views on a half-season review on Tottenham Hotspur is Fergal O'Neill. Fergal, how you doing?
Great, and yourself, Niall?
Very good. Good to have you on. Interesting times for Spurs, to say the least. What's your feeling about Spurs at the moment? I mean, they started off brilliant in the season, and then it just kind of fell away. What you thinking?
Being honest with you, at the moment, there's only 2-3 players that are playing for Spurs at the minute. We have our 2 midfielders, Højbjerg and Ndombele, and then Lloris. The rest of them, you're straight up with you, are crap.
Yeah,
even Son can't play without Kane. He's proven it.
Yeah,
play without Kane.
Yeah, I've noticed that since Kane went out injured, he seems really lost. Yeah, Højbjerg in the middle and Ndombele are unbelievable, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Højbjerg's been outstanding.
But the unfortunate thing about the two of them, more than Højbjerg is playing just in front of the back four, which there's no attacking sense. You know what I mean? This Mourinho has them just playing shocking. Yeah, put it this way, my language has been very distasteful watching the matches the last few weeks. I've been, very frustrated.
Yeah, well, I suppose it was a season that probably started out promising so much from Spurs. I mean, at one stage, I think you were top of the league, weren't you? Back in
to start December, we were top of the league.
Yeah, and then it's just fallen away badly.
Well, now we're 8th because Chelsea overtook us last night.
Saying that, yeah, that was and it was a big game as well. I found though the only thing I found, we were on a previous episode talking about the Spurs Liverpool game, and the one comment I made to lads when they were on was, I thought Spurs in that game looked really, really slow and tired, because we were coming off the back of, we were on a very poor run, if you think about it. You know what I mean? But it was saying that we were able to up a gear and just left Spurs behind. That I know Son had the goal disallowed with VAR and stuff like that, but even once that was disallowed, it was like you guys just went sort of back into yourselves. You were really, really slow. There was no counter press. There was no attack. It was like there was a real lack of desire. And that's a real scary thing in terms of Jose Mourinho's sides, because it generally, when it starts to go that way, it doesn't end up well,
That was proven at United when it went like that for him before he got the boot. And like I was saying last night, even after watching the Chelsea match, he needs to get the boot now. He's making their football has gone backwards now, and it has proven. He's played defensive football. It doesn't work. Spurs are always been an exciting attacking team to watch. Under Pochettino, they were great to watch. They were brilliant to watch. Yes, they mightn't have had a good record, but I enjoyed watching them. You always knew you were going to get a few goals out of them. This thing of sitting back in a 1-goal lead, I tell you, it frustrates the hell out of me. We can't afford to sit back in. We can't afford it. Not like Liverpool. Liverpool will bang in the 1, 2, 3, 4 goals, whatever they need to bang in. 9 out of 10 times they will.
Yeah.
Spurs won't.
Yeah.
And it's just not good enough. Like, as you say, last week against Liverpool, you're bang on. As soon as the goal was disallowed, they just got lazy. They got lazy, and you can blame fatigue and all. Anybody can blame fatigue if they want. But I would kill to have a Spurs jersey walking out on that pitch to play football 3 times, 4 times a week. I would kill to do it. They're getting well paid for it. I just don't believe this fatigue crap. I really don't. I don't believe it. Like, if Spurs, you ask any other Spurs fan, they'd be delighted to be standing out on that pitch playing football.
The one thing I've noticed since Christmas is, especially at home, they play very defensive at home. And the one thing I noticed in the Liverpool game, which you probably got punished on, was the fact that you kind of opened up against us. You didn't kind of park the bus in that Mourinho type of way. And a team like us, I know we were out of form and stuff like that, but if you open up against Liverpool, 9 times out of 10 you will get punished. And I noticed that Spurs did open up. They didn't sit back the way they had been in previous home games. And I thought if there was ever a game to sit back, it would have been against us in terms of, I know obviously the onus is on you at home. You should come out and attack and play your game and, make your mark on the game, if you like. But I mean, I've noticed at home with Spurs, they've sat back a lot, and they've played very defensive when the onus should be on them to go and, chase the win and score the goals.
Of course. Like, if you go back in the last 3 games we played, especially Liverpool and Chelsea, if the fans had been in the stadium on either of them nights, they would have been booed off the pitch. They would have been asking for Mourinho's head because it's just not good enough. It's not good enough for a Spurs team who should be up there. Honestly, they should be up there battling for the title. They have a good enough team there, realistically. But he has them playing such a defensive football. They look shabby. They really do. Like Gareth Bale, I guarantee it. Gareth Bale, if that was an attacking form team, he would be shining up in there. But because it's defensive, he's not getting into the team because it doesn't suit that play.
Yeah.
He's thrown on when we're in need of something.
Yeah, so I suppose just looking now, we're sort of like we're just above halfway across the season now. 21 games in, 9 wins, 6 draws, 6 losses. 33 points at this stage. It's nowhere near form at all, and it's nowhere for that pool of players and that pool of talent. It's certainly not good enough. But it has been a very indifferent season for nearly all the teams. I mean, I know City are on an unbelievable run at the moment, and United were on an unbelievable run until Sheffield United, and then they're back at it again now with Southampton. But most teams, apart from those two, have sort of stumbled their way through the season. The points tally is very low. Even the goal difference and the goals for and against is quite low for this stage in the season. You're looking at Spurs. Yeah, go ahead.
Like you're obviously including Liverpool in all that, but let's be honest about it. Liverpool haven't got Van Dijk in there. They haven't got their best centre defender, right? So that's partly the reason Liverpool aren't doing what they did last year. Because like Van Dijk, yes or no, whether he's agree or not, is a huge part of Liverpool now, and he's a huge part of them winning that title last year. Like he got Player of the Year, he didn't get it for no reason. You know what I mean? He's an outstanding defender, and like when you have he's have a makeshift central defence there at the minute.
Yeah.
So, I think if Liverpool had their Van Dijk there and all that, they'd be in the mix of them too. Yeah. Definitely, they would be. Spurs have no excuses. They have no excuses for it.
Well, I suppose the loss of Kane is huge. I mean, he really is.
You can't rely on that one player. No, you can't rely on that one player. Well, look at the attackers we have without him. Yeah. We have Mora, we have Lamela, we have Son, we have Bale.
But if you look at the loss of Kane this season, more so than the goals that he scores, has been dropping deep and really become that creative player as well. So it's like, I think losing Kane is it's like losing 2 players, but like every team in the Premiership at the top end, they all have that, that one player, that leader. I know they always have other players on the big squad, but they always have that leader that the other players look to. Like if you look at Son at the moment, his play with Kane is normally fantastic. And when he loses Kane, I mean, he nearly looks like a championship player, you know what I mean? He looks lost. It's like you've lost your brother, that kind of way. And I think that just has a huge effect. And it's like, you spoke earlier about us losing Van Dijk and stuff like that. It's the ripple effect that it has through the whole team, you know what I mean? Like Kane is the leader there. He's the captain. He fires them on. And I know at times he's played as well and the results haven't been what you want. But I mean... Go ahead, yeah.
No, you look at Liverpool though. Like, they've lost Van Dijk. Well, you have Henderson who's going to step up, and you have Milner who's stepping up. Like they're both leaders. They're both more leaders that will take over from Van Dijk on the pitch. Like I know Henderson's your captain, but like when he's not, when Van Dijk's gone, Henderson does step up, and he really, I think he just gets the team together. They just look like they want to fight for each other. Spurs don't. They like. So I was listening last night to the commentary for a Chelsea game. Who was commentating? I think it was I'm not sure who was the in the commentary with at the match, but they made a valid point. He says when they're going forward, Glenn Hoddle was. He says when they're going forward, he says they don't look like they know what they're doing. They haven't got a plan. They know what they're doing when the other team's on the attack. But when Spurs go on the attack, they don't know what they're doing. They actually haven't got a plan. And it's just, oh man.
Does talk to me about the defense. The defense has been chopping and changing constantly this season. And I don't know whether it's a confidence thing or I don't know whether it's just. I mean, that's what I would say. Like, is Mourinho sort of instructing your midfield to protect your back four because he doesn't have the confidence in them? What do you think on that?
Look, okay. I'll ask you as a non-Spurs fan, would you have confidence in Ben Davies? I wouldn't put him into. He wouldn't even get into Greystone's football group, for God's sake. He's that crap. And same with Rodon. Why they bought him off Swansea, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. He's crap. The only decent centre defender we have at this moment in time is Alderweireld. That's it. That's our only good defender. Doherty's muck. He shouldn't have come here to Spurs. He's not good enough to play for Spurs. And Aurier, he's had one or two good games, but that's about it.
In fairness, I mean, Eric Dwyer, like up till
no. You see the penalty he gave away last night? No.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is up till the dip in form, he had been having a very solid season. He had played well, and I know he always has that, what we call that kind of David Luiz crazy sort of mistake in him every so often. You know what I mean? But I think. Yeah. I think if you looked at him over the let's say the first 6 months of the season, I think for 4 of those months he's been okay, hasn't he? He's been solid enough. Like
he's been okay, but but okay is about it.
Yeah,
like it's like I look at other centre defenders. Now there's not many you would pick out from the league that you would love to have in your team at the moment that are playing at the moment. The one person I'd probably pick out is your man from Leicester, Sincho. Sincho, is that his name?
Soyuncu, yeah. Soyuncu.
I do think he's a good centre half.
Yeah.
Go around the rest of them, you go through. Well, Bally from United.
Yeah.
I do like him. Then because Liverpool haven't got centre defenders, there's no point in picking one of them.
I mean, you could pick any of 3 from Man City, couldn't you? With like Laporte, Ruben Diaz.
That's true,
you know what I mean? I mean, they're spoiled for choice in that area.
Yeah, but look at Spurs. Come on, to pick a boy Rodon. Rudiger was there to buy. Did you see him last night? He was getting stuck in last night. Rudiger against Spurs. He's had a new lease of life because he was bought. Your man came in, the manager came in.
Yeah.
If he'd moved to Spurs, I guarantee you, it would have been a great move.
Yeah. I also looked at some of the some stats out there. 43% win rate, roughly averaging 1.6 goals per game. Your possession away from home is better than your possession. Your average possession is better away from home than it is at home.
Yeah.
Which is very strange for a Spurs team. 5 penalties conceded so far this season. 3 at home, 2 away, and then six clean sheets so far this season. 3 home, 3 away. So it's very un-Spurs like in terms of attacking and stuff like that. I mean, Spurs have constantly always had issues at the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always either been that the back four is unsettled or not settled down, or you're not playing with your quality back four, or Lloris does be a little bit iffy at times and makes a few mistakes, stuff like that. Again, it's probably not having confidence in the guys in front of him. Yeah, but I also looked at the home and away form, and it's amazing. Like your goal difference at home is +2, and your goal difference away is +10, which would say to me is that you're very defensive when you're at home, and when you're away, you open up. And it should be the opposite. Should be the opposite, or a blend of the two.
It kills me because you go back to I know it's before Christmas, things change and all that. But you go back before Christmas, we hopped off United 6-1, and then we bet City 3-1. The team were on top now, and we went 7 hours without conceding a goal there before Christmas.
Yeah.
And now it's just, you know what? Things have to change anyway at the club. They have to change. Whether Mourinho goes or whatever. Yes, I probably did praise him before Christmas. He got results. He was getting results. But you look at the football. I finally seen the football they've been playing the last 3 games. I've been sitting down and watching it and going, this is like, it looks like they're shitting themselves. And that's been straight up with you know. It looks like they're nervous wrecks going out there.
Yeah.
They don't want to concede a goal. And it's not like a Spurs team to do that.
Because it was title winning form, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
definitely.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely.
Then you sort of kind of look like your next 5 games coming up. You've got like West Brom at home, Man City away, West Ham away, Burnley at home, and Crystal Palace at home.
They're all teams who have got wins the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Apart from West Brom. Like City are obviously flying at the moment. Burnley got a great win against Hughes.
Yeah.
The West Ham are flying.
Yeah.
They're really on form at the minute. Crystal Palace are doing all right as well.
Yeah.
Like we could end up down in 14th or 15th after them games.
Well, that's the real concern, you know what I mean? Like I would expect you to beat probably West Brom, Burnley, and Palace. They're your home games, but City away is going to be very difficult. I mean, even West Ham away is going to be very difficult.
Yeah,
but I just but then you look at your away form, which is so much better than your home form, and you think you could probably get beaten by West Brom, Burnley, and Palace, and beat City and West Ham. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you just can't judge the league this season. It's crazy.
You go on the way we're playing at the moment, the defensive mode. City will destroy us. Liverpool did it and they weren't even playing well. City will destroy us because they're flying at the minute. They'll make mincemeat out, and I'm in there like just thinking of them games. They're kind of gone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where are we going to end up at the end of these?
Yeah, those next 5 games could really dictate the future of Jose Mourinho, really, couldn't it?
Definitely.
Then I looked at some other stats in there as well. I looked at because my real concern looking at it really is the absence of Harry Kane and even sometimes the absence of his form. And when you look at goals and you look at assists, most of those stats are encapsulated around those 2 boys. I mean, those 2 boys are most of the goals. Those 2 boys are most of the assists without a shadow of a doubt. And, they really do form, you talk about Liverpool with the 3 up front. Yeah. It's the same thing with Spurs with Kane and Son. They have that link-up play. They have that nous of playing together for a long time. And I think with Kane gone, I think it has really, really hurt. You know what I mean? It's just, like he really is, I stress it again, and we spoke about it earlier. He is the talisman there. And I know there's always the argument, we have a squad, we have these players and all, but like, that guy bleeds Tottenham Hotspur, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, but you look at, like, if you look at the matches before Christmas, when Kane and Son were playing together, Kane didn't even have to look up where Son was. He knew where he was. He hit the ball over the top and straight into his path. Not a bother. We haven't got a player like that on the team. Like, as much as Vinicius tries, he's not Kane. He's not, and he never became.
Yeah.
No, he won't. He's lazy. He's not like Kane tracking all the way back, as you say, beyond the halfway to pick up the ball. Son was doing that last night.
Yeah.
But then you're losing out up front because Son's not up there for his pace.
Yeah, and Moira doesn't look like. I mean, he's not a Jose Mourinho kind of player anyway, is he? Like, I mean, he's used when he has to be used.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here then? Like, we spoke about the defense being so unsettled. I mean, if you look at all your defenders there, who's your, of the players you have at the moment, who's your optimum back four? Who you think should be in there for?
At the moment,
yeah,
Aurier, right full, Alderweireld. I suppose I'd have to stick with Dyer as much as it kills me, because Sanchez is a bit of a dodgy one as well. Sanchez, Dyer and Reguilon. I don't know why Reguilon's not getting in there. Like, why is Davies? He has something. He likes Davies for some reason. I think he likes Davies because he fucking makes Spurs lose. He's that crap.
Yeah, and in fairness, Reguilon came in and he had a good start as well. Like, I mean, it's not like he came in and he was poor, you know what I mean? So
no,
it's a strange
and
thing.
he's not afraid to attack now. He goes at the defenders. He won't at them.
Yeah,
Davies
absolutely.
every time, even last night, Davies every time he tried to give the ball up, throwing, kept hitting their player and went down for a throw. I know it helps to get a throw, but you're trying to clear that player. He couldn't even clear the first player. And then, as you're talking about the defence, Dyer trying the long ball. Why the long ball? The only person in that defence can hit a lovely long ball pass is Alderweireld. He's the only one that can get it, and especially when Dele Alli's in the team. He picks out Ali all the time. He used to do it all the time, pick him out. He's making that run. He knew where Ali was going to go, and he hit it right onto his foot. But Dyer's trying that, and Dyer hasn't got it. He hasn't got it.
Talk to me about Dele Alli. Like, I mean, what's going on there? Like, I mean, he's probably, one of the most talented players on his day at the club. And, you would think a manager of the experience of Jose Mourinho, I mean, we've seen it in the documentary on Amazon as well, where he had to fall in out with Danny Rose. But you look at Dele Alli there, you would think that he really needs that man's creativity. And, to me, Dele Alli, like, he really is a very good footballer. He's kind of misunderstood. And, like, he's one of those players that probably requires, a bit of cuddling and a bit of sort of player management to keep him.
Yeah, man management kind of.
Yeah, and when I look at Dele Alli, I see what Mourinho's doing. Very similar to what he tried to do with Luke Shaw at United. Absolutely, just destroy his confidence. And, it's probably borderline nearly player bullying, really, when you think about it.
I don't understand it now, though. Like, they had a chance. If Mourinho doesn't think much of Ali, now I think a lot of Ali. I think he went off form, but what do you expect? You'll go off form if you're not being picked. You're not going to be on form if you're not being picked. But like Ali was playing great for Spurs. He when you got on the ball, you kind of got a bit excited because you knew he was going to do something. And Mourinho in January had a chance to offload him, and he said he's not going anywhere. Like, why hang on to someone you're not interested in playing? I don't get it. I don't get it in transfer window why they didn't buy a centre defence. Like, I can't understand it. I just
Well, see, I suppose
we didn't.
Yeah, I suppose it depends. I mean, January's never a great time to be buying players. No one more than me is a Liverpool fan knows that. We're crying out for defenders, and I know we brought the two boys in.
You got your man today. Your man got his work permission today.
Yeah, but I was looking at that situation. There was also a story came out today that we're still going to go for up in McCann in the summer. So, like, you know what I mean? It's hard to know really what the thinking is there. You know what I mean? But it's just, I think with Dele Alli, I mean, like, I know PSG were in from and they were trying to do a deal to get him in. That didn't happen. And I would be thinking that, like if he's good enough for PSG, surely the God he's good enough for Spurs.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Like maybe they want to buy him. I'm not sure what the whole deal was, but like even if they sent him on there for a loan for a year, for one season, he would have come back a bigger and better man. But to hold on to him and stick him not even in the lineup sometimes.
The problem is the amount of money you'd have to spend as well to replace a player of that quality. And I know, like, what I say about players as well when they're out of the side is they need at least 3 to 5 games to get back in there. You can't touch them off a one-off situation. You know what I mean? At all. What you're making of Tuchel so far? He's gone into Chelsea there. I mean, what you're thinking on that?
No, we all know teams when a new manager goes in, 9 out of 10 times the lads up their game because they know they're fighting for their place. This is a new man in, they're fighting for their place. Look, Chelsea, I can't remember the results, the last 2 results, but last night, obviously I remember. But last night, in all fairness, they were handed the game. Spurs were crap as usual. But the 2 games before, I'm not sure who they played. I don't know. I can't remember who played in the last 2 matches. Can you tell me that?
What was it? They played Jews then. I think they got. Trying to come to my mind now. They beat Burnley 2-0, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had a good win against Burnley 2-0, but, like, I mean, that game against Burnley, they absolutely destroyed Burnley.
Yeah.
And then I think the game before that, I think I think they had a draw, didn't they, in his first game? His
Yeah.
first game
Yeah.
was a draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they
But
beat
you look
Burnley,
at
and then they beat Hughes. So
But you look at their team, Niall. Like you had, like on the bench last night was Ziyech, Pulisic, and who's the other? There was another lad on the bench. Oh, Giroud.
yeah,
They were all on the bench. Like they have a bench like that. And then I was looking at the Spurs bench and I went, okay, we have
yeah,
Bale. You know what I mean? There wasn't, and Lamella obviously, but
yeah,
Ziyech like to be on the bench. Ziyech is playing great for Chelsea at the minute.
yeah.
Like,
Well, as you said, you see, he's a new manager in, so he's obviously trying to take a look at everything before he makes,
yeah,
any commitment on his starting 11 or anything like that. Everyone's getting
yeah,
a chance. So you're saying there, I think at the weekend it was, or whatever it was, like, I mean, Aspilicueta scored and Marcus Alonso scored. I mean, those two boys haven't even featured really.
exactly, yeah.
Frank Lampard's Chelsea, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you can see he's come in, he's having a look at everyone. And
yeah.
eventually, like I'd say, after about 5 games, he will settle into his starting 11 and he will know. Again, I mean, not dissimilar to Klopp, He's a tactician and he's quite scientific in his way and his approach, So he will
Yeah.
pick certain teams for certain situations and he will have science and analytics to back it up, you know what I mean? That's his way,
That's the great thing, isn't it? You have like to have all that in your the background to know you can go like this. Blah. Like Mourinho doesn't seem to have that for Spurs. He has a one-dimensional team, and that's it.
Yeah, well,
He's made them into a one-dimensional team. Whereas Liverpool, if Liverpool were playing against City, they'd probably. I'm not saying to go defensive, but they'd have a tactic about how to get around this, how to get beat this.
try figure out a plan.
City is the name. Yeah, they'd have a plan to go at them.
Yeah.
But Spurs will go against Liverpool. They go against them next week. They go against City next week in 2 weeks' time. Whenever they're playing them, they'll go out defensive. They'll defend against them and hope to catch them on the counter attack. It's not going to work against City. It's not going to work.
Yeah, well, it's hard. It's hard as well to compare kind of Spurs with Chelsea as well because they have such such riches in their squad. Really, you know what I mean? Like Spurs are not going to go out and suddenly spend $250 million in a transfer window. They're just not going to do that. You know what I mean? So it's
never done that.
Yeah, so what Chelsea did by missing that transfer window with the ban and then going out and blowing all that money and bringing in all these players, that's really the equivalent of, for other teams in the league, maybe apart from City, but for most other teams in the league, represents probably, maybe 4 or 5 transfer windows. So you never kind of really get that influx of talent all in one go or all at the club at the one time, because what happens is to bring in players, obviously, like ourselves, you sell players to bring in players. So there does be an imbalance there at times where players go, players come in, as opposed to, just half your squad or half your starting 11 coming in all at the one time, all top talent, all well proven and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And again, not to say as well, I mean, Chelsea have had their struggles this season as well. And they'll still struggle at times under Tuchel to try and figure out that blend of what they have because he has so much talent.
Well, he's a Spurs fan. He should have come to Spurs, Tuchel. He's a Spurs fan.
But see, that's the problem at the moment. The problem at the moment is let's suppose you went on a run and you lost your next 5 games and it was Jose out. It was done and dusted. You know what I mean? They had decided. So who do you get in? Who's available? Who do you bring in?
Like my young lad was asking me last night, who would I get in? And I said, I was trying to think in my head, like. I did put Chris Hughton in the mix, and he said, Chris Hughton, he's only managed Brighton, and now he's in the Championship. You couldn't bring him in. He says, he's not good enough. He said to me, what about Frank Lampard? And I says, no, he wouldn't come here anyway for starters. There's not a chance anyway. I did mention the spirits of Santos. I think he's a good manager. He's at the moment, he's just been unfortunate with his run.
Wolves. He's been very unlucky losing Jimenez as well to that injury.
Yeah, exactly.
He's again like when we talk about Kane, he's their talisman of Wolves. Yeah. Every team has it,
Yeah, well, he's like, I guarantee the spirit of Santos. If he got into the Spurs dressing room, he'd have a different mentality about how to go at teams. He'd go on the attack. He wouldn't come defensive mind. Like this, it's just like. Can I ask you a question though?
Yep.
Being a Liverpool fan, what players off Spurs would you take?
Who would I take? Certainly, Højbjerg would be one that I would take. I'd certainly bring him in to have a look at him. Probably. Well, obviously, Son. I mean, like, you'd bring Son in, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I know we have Mane in there and stuff like that. Sadio Mane is absolutely outstanding and all, but I mean,
Yeah.
Son's equally as good as Mane, isn't he? In terms of,
on his day,
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're comparing both players at their best,
yeah.
No, they're probably equally as good as each other in terms of,
the only thing, the difference between Son and Mane is not afraid to tackle. Son seems to be afraid to tackle.
Yeah.
He seems to have he pauses a bit before he sticks the foot in on a tackle.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting, maybe that's because of the tackle he gave against the Everton player last year, accidentally. You know what I mean? The one that your man broke his leg, obviously tripping up over him.
Yeah.
Like that, you know.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'd say 2 or 3 sessions with Klopp and that'd be knocked out of him anyway.
Yeah, he'd kick it out of him, all right.
Yeah. So if we look towards the second half of the season, I mean, let's say, can we bring a bit of positivity back to this, because we hate doing these episodes where it's all doom and gloom, and I've had enough of that for the last 6 weeks. I've had enough of that for the last 6 weeks with Liverpool. Anyway, it's been absolutely fucking at times, you know what I mean? So, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, is Kane due back soon? I haven't really looked at his injuries. Is he due back in the next couple of weeks?
Due back, he is due back sooner than they thought.
Okay.
Now, when, I'm not sure. I think there was word that he could be back in the next 2-3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it'd be great if you had him back for the City game.
Yeah, exactly. It would be. It would be great.
Or at least West Ham. West Ham would be a big one as well.
I'll try to be positive on it, Niall. I'll try my best. But I think he needs to put Reguilon in there instead of Davies. Leave Aurier in there, the Alderweireld and Dyer. If we stick with that back four and Lloris behind them, obviously. The midfield looks after itself at the minute. You know what I mean? The midfield does look after itself. Like, I would, like, personally, I'd have Højbjerg and Dombele in the middle, and I would put Bale on. I'd put Bale out in the left wing. I wouldn't put him up as the 3 strikers. I'd put him in the left wing and just go right wing as well. The right wing, I'd probably put Mahora there. And if Kane is back, have Kane and Son up front. And I think that's a good, solid squad. I do. I think it's a solid squad that could. They've proven that they can beat teams. They can beat the best. As I say, they beat City just before Christmas 3-1. And like, in all fairness, it wasn't that they were lucky against them. They defended well, and then they did counter-attack them, but they got it right. They haven't had it the last few weeks. Even against Liverpool before Kane got taken off injured, they hadn't got it. You know what I mean? The one ball, that was the one ball that Son that Kane got to Son for the goal, but that was it.
So what are you looking for then towards the end of the season? I mean, are we looking again at top 6? Do you think there's a chance you can get back into top 4?
Being straight up, no, I don't think we can get into top 4. I don't think so. I think there's too much talent, too much, how would you call it, positivity in other teams at the minute. Like, the likes of Liverpool are going to be up there. There's going to be City and United, and I think Chelsea will be the other team taking that 4th spot. I really do. I think Chelsea will take that 4th spot. If we get in top 6, I'd have to be happy with that.
So no change in the top 4 from last season, basically. That's what you're looking at. Just depends on the placings, but top 4 is pretty settled.
I think so. I think the top 4 goals, as I said, they're going to be, and I think City will win it this year. I think they will win it. They've just come on form at the right time, and they'll just cruise to the end now. I know if Spurs can beat them now in 2 weeks' time, it could be. It opens the gates for the others. But let's be honest, mate. Like, Solskjaer is getting the best out of his players at the minute as well. He really is. He's getting he seems to have given them a new lease of life.
Yeah. What about? Is there going to be a trophy? Is Jose going to deliver a trophy?
See, I honestly think our best chance of a trophy, even though we're in the final of the Carabao Cup, I think our best chance of a trophy is the Europa League.
Europa League.
I just don't see City. I don't see City being beaten in the League Cup final. I don't. I really don't.
Well, that's really their cup, isn't it? It's their cup.
Yeah.
Like they like.
But they're so strong at the minute, Noel. They're so strong.
And it's also, isn't it amazing the way they focus on that cup? You don't see them playing weakened sides. Like it's wants to win that every year. Like he's just he plays strong sides all the way through, and he doesn't disrespect the cup in any way. Even though it's like you see the likes of Klopp, like he throws that stuff away. He just doesn't bother with it. Plays the kids, whatever it is. You know what I mean? But with
let's be honest about it. You take the Premiership ahead of that anytime. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. But so again,
if Klopp had to sacrifice them that last year, it was well worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the league and the European situation is always number one.
Yeah.
The domestic cups, like we spoke about on a couple of episodes back where the FA Cup had lost its romance and stuff like that. For me, I still love the FA Cup, so I hate when it gets thrown away. You know what I mean? I love the whole FA Cup. The League Cup, I'm not as sold on. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of hit and miss. You know what I mean? Obviously,
I'll take it. I'll take it this year if we get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Get it into Europe. I don't care.
Yeah, so it's been good to chat. I love getting lads on, to talk about their clubs, especially. It's difficult when it's not going well. It's like if I'd have got you on in, December or whatever it is, you'd be sitting there going, this is great, probably going to wrap up the league. It's all going well, scoring for fun, winning for fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it's, then 6 weeks later, the whole world is turned on its head again. And, City are back. So look at us. We were flying as well at one stage, 7 points clear in the league. And now we're 7 points off. We've a 14-point swing. And
it's unreal.
And then dropping to Brighton there the other day as well. Not dissimilar to yourselves.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
You just can't.
You have to hand it to Brighton. They got their tactics spot on.
Absolutely. I was only on the Premier League site there this morning, and I voted for Graham Potter to be manager of the month for January. You know what I mean? Outstanding job he's done.
Yeah. Well, he must. He actually should get it, shouldn't he? Like, Jesus Christ.
But then I suppose you're looking at Pep as well, who's after winning 7 on the bounce. So, although he has such an abundance of riches, and I think David Moyes is in there as well with West Ham. So,
he has to be counted in as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. So, but if it was me, I would give it to Potter. But my guess is Pep will probably get it after winning 7 on the bounce and going to the top of the league. It's hard to argue with that, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course.
Well, look, it's been brilliant talking to you as usual. Great to have you on because we don't find too many Spurs fans. They're also hard to track down. I've got about 5 or 6 of them that are mates, but they don't always want to come on and chat, and especially at these times. And again, I would say to everyone, head over to the Dynamo Podcast Network, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, and let us know your feedback and comments on the episode. And from myself and Fergal, till next time, really appreciate it. Thank you.